listeners. Thanks for tuning in again this week. I am excited for this week's guest, as I am for all week's guests. But this individual is just a wonderful spirit, and I love seeing them every time they come into the shop. So, ladies and gentlemen, Davey Jackson.
Hello.
What's up?
What's up?
Pull that bitch closer to you.
Hello.
First of all, how old are you?
24. And then my birthday is November 1st, so that'll be 25.
Oh,
So
shit.
very, very close. Yeah.
Hell yeah, you'll be able to rent a car.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's right. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
I remember that was the last milestone of aging is this is the last thing, and now I'm a real adult.
Because it was back when I was 18
Mhm.
to get nicotine products, and then it was 21 to drink. Very weird thinking that I'm actually 25 because in my brain I'm like a glorified teenager, if that makes sense.
Dude, look at this room.
Yeah, that's my bedroom. I literally, my friend had a Halloween party and she's like, look at how I decorated. I said, you should keep that up all year round because that's what my room looks like. I just love, I love it. But yeah, 25.
What's your friend's name, by the way?
This is Dorian.
Dorian, how the fuck are you?
Favorite books is a picture of Dorian Gray, so I thought it was.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. So I thought it was appropriate he'd be here for the Halloween episode.
So I don't know if you have a spot that you would like to start or if you want me to just do my journalistic.
Yeah, go for it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said you have a twin brother.
I do, yes.
Do you have any other siblings?
I have, how old are they?
You don't have to, that's okay.
Finley, I think they're 18. Yeah,
oh, okay.
18, yeah. So Finley's 18. They're fucking awesome. They're my favorite person in the world. My mom, she's like, my main goal, when I had all of you, was that when you guys grow up, you're all friends. And so we had this dumb little moment where we're in the bathroom in the basement and Finley's like, shave my fucking head. Because they're, whatever was happening with their barber or whatever just wasn't working out. And so they said, shave my fucking head. So we're all so I'm the shortest of my family. I'm 5'10". So,
what?
Yeah. So Finley's 6'1". My mom's 6'2", my dad's 6 foot, and Clay is 6'3". So we're all crammed into this tiny little bathroom. And Finley's in the tub wearing my cape, and Clay's just going at it with the fucking clippers. And so all three of us are in there trying to fucking get this right. And she said, it was so cute just hearing you guys just blabble on in the bathroom and you're all friends. It's so cute. And I said, Mom, you did that. Yeah, I love my mom. Her name was Alita. And she's the baddest bitch. I'm fucking obsessed with her.
Okay, so you have the one other sibling. So you and Clay are the oldest?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Technically, I'm the oldest. By 5 minutes.
Yeah. Were there differences in the way that you guys grew up as far as going to school, sports and shit like that?
I was homeschooled until high school.
Interesting. Was he also?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he went to school, so we went to Spectrum. Name drop. He went to Spectrum for 8th grade, and then I stayed home. My mom was like, fuck it, you're both going to school. So I tell people that, and they go, that makes sense. You were homeschooled. That makes sense. I was like, yeah. So Finley was in school, but we went to co-ops and all that shit. So, because we grew up Christian fundamentalism.
Interesting.
So, yeah, look at me now. Nothing against religion. It's not for me.
So wait, is that the name of it, or was it Christian Science?
So it's the church that we grew up in was very, very Baptist.
Okay.
No, women couldn't wear pants on stage when performing, stuff like that. So the deconstruction of growing up from that is something else I've also been working on too. So Christian guilt is real.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, so homeschooling is kind of a part of Christianity because they prefer to take you out of school so they can teach you what they want you to know. Mm-hmm. Which there's nothing against that.
I mean, I think there's everything against that.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
Because it's part. So I grew up Mormon.
Okay.
So
T.
Same team.
Damn. Okay.
So that whole indoctrination concept, because we used to do seminary before school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they weren't homeschooling kids, but they were also making sure that the LDS way was ingrained into your brain before you even went to school.
Yes.
So I get it.
It's a crazy thing to look back on and we lived through that and we don't live in it anymore, and it's kind of a refreshing feeling of looking at it for what it is and going, that's it.
I know.
That's the one.
You know what it is? Majority of religions, and I've been apologizing for the last, 5 episodes. It's us old white guys. Unfortunately,
little bit.
We're fucking ruining the world.
I can't tell you you're wrong.
Because the second that women step into those roles, things seem to get better. In even in our own town here, there is a black queer. I don't know if they're called a priest, but she's in charge, and she's just such a happy human being, and came in to get a tattoo at the shop one time.
Aww,
and
I love that.
And she was just so fucking nice to everybody, and wasn't like, you guys should come, I'll see you on Sunday. She was just letting people know that she sincerely appreciated whatever it was that they were doing. And
that's how it should be done.
Old honkies, they just kind of want to make you feel like you're questioning. It's like when a cop is driving behind you and you're like, did I fucking leave a shotgun in my trunk?
Shit, I didn't take out that pound of weed I had in the trunk.
Yeah, exactly. You start questioning shit that isn't even wrong.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, quick story. We were sitting in an Applebee's, and
how old were you?
This was a week ago. And something happened at work, and we were just talking about something or whatever it was, and this girl comes up and goes, just want to say God loves you all so very much, and he wants you to find him, or something along those lines. You know how they do, when they slip you a track or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And they all looked at me and said, that was for you. She knew what your past was, and she said, we got to bring her back. No. I almost said God bless, but I didn't, because I didn't want to make her mad.
My thing is, gay Satan just wants you to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm into it.
So when I was in treatment, I had to wrap my head around the way that, because the majority of treatment facilities are either religious-based or faith-based.
Yes.
And so you hear a lot of that talk of I'm praying for you, God wants you to have this, blah, 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 blah. And the way that I've translated it is, when somebody says, I'm praying for you, they're saying, I don't have what you need right now, but I'm hoping what you need is made available to you. And the only way that they know that can happen is through this higher power, aka God. So it regardless of how it comes out, I try to get in that mode of they're not necessarily trying to push God on me. They just want me to be okay. And it's tough for people to understand that you can be okay without religion.
Yes. Yes.
Which is fantastic. So I'm a big fat atheist.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. And that's totally fair. I'm with you.
And so with my Mormon, family, there was a lot of turmoil initially. Could you fucking just pull it together? No.
Trying to be sly didn't work.
But them trying to, when they heard atheist, they were like, oh, he's going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
So it was just tumultuous for a while. And now majority of my family is not really going to church. My parents are taking weed gummies.
Oh.
Which is wild.
Okay.
Because I don't know what you know about Mormons. So how there's dads that will they hide weed or they hide fucking heroin or whatever. My dad was hiding cold brew Starbucks bottles because we weren't supposed to drink coffee. And so it was funny. I'd be in the laundry room, pull out a towel or something, and there'd be this cold brew. And I'm like, I don't know, I was like 15 or 16. And so at that time I was like, oh, that's fucking hilarious. Because
Here's the thing. I work at a Starbucks, and that is fucking so funny to me right now because
so to go from that,
was it in the can?
It was in the glass bottle.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, I know. Yep. I know that one.
So to go from that, like being terrified of his family knowing that he drinks coffee, to now openly eating weed gummies.
Yeah.
My mom took a video of him watching a compilation of prank farts and him just laughing his ass off. Like some guy walking around with one of those like fart button things, and like he just fucking loved it. And it's like, this is fantastic. And you can kind of start to see them like, you don't need church to have a connection to this higher power, right? But I get that there are people that need community, because it's the same thing with us addicts. We need a support system. We need people that are, in our corner, or just like-minded individuals to where we can vent and not have all this shit just bottled up.
Oh yeah, like there are good people in churches, and the community aspect of it is, I think, so wonderful. Like if you like the whole, like, obviously the whole world is made up of people, and you have to find your people that, I mean, even if the thing that you're thinking of like isn't right, you're all thinking the same thing. So you have your community, but like growing up, like amazing people. Some weren't, but those are the outliers, and finding those people, like, it is a good thing, whether or not I agree with what they're saying from the pulpit. Like, they have all their friends and they go out and do this, and I think it is kind of wonderful a little bit. I don't know. I think it's sweet.
Yeah, well, and I mean, we could go on and on about all the fun religious stuff, but
we could.
Let's go back to high school.
Okay.
Was that a culture shock for you to be, because how big was the school?
Small.
Oh, small school.
Yes.
Okay.
So Spectrum is a primarily college preparatory school. So they're a charter school. But and I will say this with my chest, if I had gone to like Elk River High School, I would have been eaten alive. Eaten alive. Because before high school, I had some social things that I went to, but I was a very lonely individual. So finding my best friend from high school, Easton, like the way that we found each other was that everyone thought she was a bitch and everyone was scared of me because I looked fucking frightening. And then we just became friends because people were like, what are those two doing?
What do you mean you looked frightening?
Hot Topic outfits.
Yeah.
I had my jean vest, and I had like my Hot Topic t-shirts, and I didn't really know how to smile very much, so I just looked like this. I was very, very intense. But finding all of my friends in high school was very, very wonderful. They did teach me how to be friends with other people.
To socialize.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Now, so charter school, is the vibe different than like kind of, if you were to compare it to like going to a concert?
Did you go to the Used?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, me too.
You were there?
I was there.
Davey.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh my God.
Smaller classroom environments, higher workload. So they would send the people that had dropped out from other high schools and sent them to us. And I was like, this is kind of funny. And it's kind of sad because I don't know if they had anywhere else to go, but it was like, oh, Spectrum's your last resort. And I'm like, Spectrum is not easy. I'm not saying I learned how to kiss ass, but I liked to make friends with the teachers because my mom, the other day I said, oh, I'm not smart because I kind of feel like going back to college or changing up my life and stuff like that because I feel crazy like that right now. I was like, I don't feel smart. And they all said, what the fuck are you talking about? You were a fucking dork in high school. You gave a shit. And I was like, oh, really? They're like, yeah, did you forget? I said, I did forget. I blocked that one out. I'm sorry. So, because my mom is a teacher and she's working towards her master's, and my brother is a high school teacher for English.
Really? That's an interesting dynamic because charter schools, I feel like there's a mix of like, because there was a big push for charter schools kind of on the right wing side of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find that super fascinating that you have kind of last resort students.
Yes.
And then you have these guys.
Yes.
So with that dynamic, with the hot topicness of it all,
oh yeah,
did you have people throwing like bigoted shit at you during high school, or was it tolerant with the students?
So the way that I look right now, I kind of conformed a little bit to what other like teen high school girls were wearing.
Sure.
Because I was like, oh, this is what they like. Oh, this is music that they listen to or whatever it is. I don't know if there was any weird random bullshit strewn around, like.
But nothing that stands out.
I don't think, because I wasn't, my alternative beautiful self right now. I was a little bit, but just hidden. So like when I graduated, I was like, fuck it, fuck that shit. So looking back, it was a little religious.
I was going to say it's interesting that you didn't have that stuff coming at you, but you felt some type of pressure to conform and look like everybody else.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just the anxiety of it all kind of pushed you in that direction anyways.
Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't medicated for anxiety until senior year of high school. So yeah, I was just trying to fit in, and this is another thing I get fucking clowned for is one time I said, I'm pretty sure we're the most popular girls in school. So that came out of my mouth. I said that. So whenever someone says I'm pretty sure, we have to follow it up with we're the most popular girls in school. Because like obviously you had your friend groups of different people, and it wasn't like a super huge hierarchy, I don't think. But like if you are at the higher end of the food chain, you don't notice as much.
Oh,
so it's probably why, because I kissed ass. I love being friends with the teachers. We had our wink, wink, funny moments, and only a couple times did they have to go, Davey, will you stop talking when I'm talking? I'm sorry.
Now, as far as like high school parties go, were you introduced to substances like right out of the gate freshman year, or was that later on?
I was completely straight edge.
Oh.
Very much so. My body was a temple.
Sure.
I was like, oh, if I do this, I don't like, if I start smoking, I don't want my teeth to get whatever, or this or that, or, I was invited to one party, and a friend got ridiculously wasted because she hadn't eaten all day. And like I had to take off my shirt to like, because she was taking off her shirt. So I had to remove my shirt to cover her no shirt moment. So I was introduced to drinking in not the best way. Like I didn't want to be someone that was addicted to something because I knew that I had an addictive personality, but here we are.
That's interesting. So how was it that you recognized you had an addictive personality? Like, is there addiction in your family?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I came from that, so that means this might happen to me, or like a slew of mental health issues as well. So I was like, I don't want to throw anything into the mix that'll make it worse. But, again, here we are.
I mean, and I like that you were able to kind of see recognize those things. Because for myself and people older, like nobody really talked about that stuff. So if there were alcoholics in the family, sure, sometimes it was brought up, but a lot of times, especially in the Midwest, like nobody really talks about it. And especially on the mental health side of things, nada.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So were you able to talk with your parents about like, I'm feeling anxious or I'm depressed and I don't really know why?
Yeah. So my mom, she was the one that kind of made me realize, oh, like we need to go in. Like I said some real sad shit to her. So I'll never forget, we're sitting out on the deck and I was like, oh, if I kill myself, then like Clay won't be a twin anymore. And she said, bitch, what the fuck? She said, we got it. So that's when I started on anxiety medication because it was more, I have anticipatory anxiety. So
okay.
like
catastrophizing and
yeah, and then I show up and it's fine. But the days leading up to it, I'm a sobbing mess. I'm like, oh my god. And they're like, stop, it's okay, you're fine. So my mom is like sweet baby angel and has been through all of it with me. Yeah, that was some crazy shit I said. And she said, what the fuck? What the fuck? So I'll say it now. My whole family's medicated. And we're living it up. When my brother was like, oh, what is this? You were the last one and you got. We were waiting for it.
It's weird to like look back on how fucking insane you feel like you looked.
Mm-hmm.
And then at a certain point, everybody else kind of catches up to you. And then you're the person to be like, oh, well, I mean, I do this when I'm feeling anxious or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
I'm always appreciative of the insanity that I've been through because it allows me to relate to people better.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So you started on meds.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do therapy as well?
I didn't. I am now.
Mm-hmm.
So like my whole goal of being clean and sober was to get myself back on a healthy track in life. I think it was during COVID, like after I graduated, like it was so much harder to get in and like I fucking hate calling people on the phone. It's the fucking worst for me. That's one of my anxiety things is like, oh, call to make. No, I don't want to do that. Make it online. What the fuck? I don't want to do. Ugh. So I ended up like weaning myself off of that during COVID because I didn't want to call someone on the phone, which it seems stupid and it kind of is, but it's a big deal for me. It was at the moment.
It's a completely different vibe because you don't know if they're looking at a computer screen while it like, are you actually focused on what we're talking about? Yeah. Are you at home? Like if you hear a door open, you're like, who the fuck else is in there?
Yeah. To this day, I have to sit down and write out what I'm going to say to someone on the phone because that shit fucking freaks me out. But I raw dogged life. For a while. So like, my main goal was to better myself. So I got back on medication after I got clean. And I was like, so what's the point of me getting clean then? Is to just stay crazy? Stay unstable? No, I'm going to take steps to improve the hand that I've been dealt right now. So I had to call to make an appointment for therapy. That was hard, but I did it. And so I've been going for a couple of weeks now and I don't hate it. Okay. I don't hate it.
This is in person or over the
in person. Yeah, I was like, you know what? Cuz Finley Goes to Therapy has been going for a while and that's been pretty good. So I was like, yeah, everyone's like, Davey, you need therapy. You need to go to therapy. I'm like, okay, fine. So I did, it's not sure how well it's going, but because like I'll say something, it's almost like I'm giving therapy to myself. So I'm not sure I have the right therapist.
Yeah.
Because I end up like just talking it out and figuring it out anyways.
Well, it's interesting. Sometimes that's a tactic with therapists is they're trying like because they can give you all the information.
Yeah.
But that self-talk of they don't get it. They don't understand. So getting you to say it, like the whole reason that I ended up going to treatment, there was a drug and alcohol counselor who, because I was on an adult mental health unit, she came to visit with me and she was like, is it okay if we sit and talk? And I was like, sure. I was in kind of a weird place, so I didn't have much that I wanted to say, but she just sat there and like just kind of smiled and I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I could tell she was there for whatever I needed. And so I started to say things like, what what is treatment? Like, I've only like seen what goes on in movies, and it seems like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
And so she described things to me, and I kind of tried to think like, why would I need to be in treatment? And yeah, it kind of came to that realization of like, I don't want to go to treatment, but I want to.
Yes. Yep.
So like, yeah, there's a method of like, it's not gonna stick with you unless you come to that realization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So because I hear that a lot, people saying like, I'm, doing the therapy to myself,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes it's better to have somebody to kind of go like, I don't know, because if you're just sitting in your room, then you could have a million thoughts go through your head,
Yeah.
and they at least kind of help it keep on track.
Yeah.
So just little questions to kind of help you keep that train of thought going.
Because it's mainly just like me, because I'm very open to being at therapy. It's not like I'm, got my hand behind my back and they're like, go fucking therapy. Like, so I'm doing this for myself and I want to improve. It's just like, sometimes there's dead air and Finley's like, oh, that's normal. And I'm like, but I feel, I don't know. I just say shit. She listens. That's what it's supposed to be, but I don't know if I'm looking for a different type of therapy, I guess. I don't get, like, she doesn't ask me very many questions at all. Just kind of just sits and goes like this. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's all right. So we'll see. I'm open to making another phone call and maybe finding someone different if this doesn't work out to reaching the goals that I want to reach in this. Yeah, my main goal would be like how to be a functioning, sober, clean adult.
A normie?
Yeah. Yeah, I never thought I would say that.
Yeah, it is funny that whole concept. Because yeah, it's hard to describe to people how much we just want to be normal enough to where you're not trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I get to be goofy and silly at the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And people leave being like, oh, that guy was a goof. What a cool thing.
That guy was fucking whack. What the fuck?
But I mean, it's in an environment where like it seems like it works.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when I'm in the real world and I'm fucking with people and doing this, like people don't realize I'm the same when I leave the shop.
Yes.
That's how I talk to people.
Yeah.
So outside of it, there's a lot of like, why the fuck would you say that? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trying to interact.
Yes, that's exactly right. So at my work, my main goal is to have a good time. I'm saying weird shit. My favorite thing to ask a new person is, if you were a pair of pants, what kind of pants would you be? I like to say weird things to people to try and get them to open up because I fucking love that shit. I love saying weird stuff all the time. Well, one time in high school, I did a presentation and she said, well, it's more like a stand-up comedy set, but I'll let you pass. And I said, thank you. So I don't know, just being silly, goofy, and then, leaving and going somewhere else if you're not surrounded by those people that have the same sense of humor as you. They're like, what is that? Like, it's just me. I'm sorry. I love that you are the same outside of work as you are in it. Like that's how it should be.
I mean, I think the most important thing in the world is sincerity. Because if you're trying to, I get the fake it till you make it in certain scenarios. If you're faking it till you make it and then where you've made it is not who you actually want to be, then you're kind of just throwing yourself back to square one. Like you're going in a loop. And then you're going to end up in a place where you're unhappy, successfully unhappy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
you kind of lose a bit of yourself, I think, because you're trying to be what you think they want from you. And then in reality, now you're nowhere.
Yeah. Because then when things get hectic, your normal go-tos aren't acceptable in this scenario now. And if you try, people are going to think something's really wrong.
Yep.
So it's like that mind fuck of like, okay, how I need to go in the brain of like, I don't know, who's boring? Bryce. I need to go into Bryce mode.
Yep.
And fucking not say fuck every other word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah. I mean, did you ever see that meme where his mom is driving and she looks back and says, "Why can't you just be normal?"
Mhm.
And there's a kid screaming in the
Yeah.
back. It's like that, but it's to ourselves. So a lot of times it's not people saying, "Why did you do that?" It's us doing that.
Mhm.
And the other wild thing is like I can talk about my suicide attempts like I'm talking about the weather.
Mhm.
But if I think about, I mean, this isn't the exact example, but basically you go to the movies and somebody says, "Enjoy the movie," and you go, "Yeah, you too."
Yeah.
That will fuck me up for the rest of the night.
Okay, yeah.
The small things for some reason really stick,
Mhm.
but the weird shit that I do on a daily basis doesn't faze me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you're at your job, you can say the word fuck, right?
Mhm.
So at my job, I can't say that to a customer. I very much wish that I could. Here's your fucking coffee. Have a fucking great day, bitch.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
So, like, we'll say it behind the scenes, of course, like behind the bar. I have to put on like my customer service face, and my voice is higher up here, and just because they can hear you easier, and blah blah blah. So like, and then I get home or I walk in the back room, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? What the fuck? Oh yeah, I went to the vape shop, and there's this guy that works there, and he's so cute. He's little. He's tiny. He's very small, and I just think he's the goddamn cutest thing in the world. And I fucking flub it every time. So, like, being clean, I don't have my crutch to use anymore.
Mm.
I don't have any charisma or riz or whatever the fucking
The
kids
Riz,
say. Yeah, I don't have that. So it's like I'm back to being a paper bag, and I cannot talk to people sometimes because I don't have my fake confidence. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
it's fucking strange because I'm like, oh my God, I sit in my car and I go, what the fuck? And that'll stick with me because then I go home and I go, oh my God, I'm going to be alone forever because I can't talk to someone at the vape shop. Because I was just trying to ask what flavor was right, and then I fuck it up. I fuck it up. It's fine. But if you're listening, you're little and you're cute. It's real though, like saying something and then you go, what? Like fucks with your brain a little bit, and then you think about it.
Because it just adds to that pile of like you think that you've been navigating normally.
Yep.
And then that one thing happens and you're like,
Yep.
God damn it, dude.
You're like, have I been doing this the whole time?
Exactly, yeah. Is this how people
Is this
view
how
me?
I am? Yeah. Oh, that's the fucking worst.
Yeah. So we got a little off track.
We did.
But
Sorry.
also still on track because they feed into each other. So at what point did you decide to stray away from the straight edge life?
I started with zero Nick, and then I went with the juice that had nicotine in it. I had my what the fuck, Prince stick, whatever, the little stick mod with the coils, like the the vape, and then I had this big mod. She was beautiful. I just threw her out. So start on nicotine, cigarettes. I kind of threw in the mix. Like I'll have a cigarette now and then. I don't know. Sue me. I still think that having a cigarette makes you look cool.
It does.
I'm sorry.
It's unfortunate.
It sucks for me. I'm sorry.
But it does look fucking rad.
Yeah. You're such a fucking badass. And then and I started drinking, and then I smoked weed. Weed does not agree with me. At first, I think it did, and then it didn't.
Does it amplify the anxiety?
It makes it so much worse. I remember, like, we were sitting in the B-Dubs parking lot. Yes, I just said B-Dubs.
But how did it get introduced to you? Like, do you remember your first drink, your first smoke?
Yeah, my first hit they packed a bowl for me, and I was sitting in the front seat, and I still had my seatbelt on.
Okay.
When I smoke weed, so better safe than sorry.
Buckle up, or you'll die.
I had a friend that used to work with me at Starbucks, and we'd go over to her house and smoke and drink and stuff like that. Yeah, I would smoke weed pretty much like every night. But something, I don't know if it happened to my brain or my body or whatever it was, but we were in the Beatos parking lot and I had a hit of something and I was like, take me the fuck home. Dude in the back's just like, all right, like, oh, okay, cool. My friend's like, yeah, we'll get you home. And she drops me off and I'm like, oh my God, Clay, I don't remember why he was home because he was off at college. But he sat with me while I was on the floor having the worst time. And it felt like fucking hours because the heart rate increases. And I used to wear a Fitbit.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'd see my heart rate go up after having one hit of something. And later he was like, on your scale of like 1 to 10 of worst reactions to shit, yours is probably a 2. He said, I've seen a lot worse in college. And I said, it didn't feel like a 2, but thank you for saying that. I wanted to smoke weed. I wanted to be that cool, like marijuana person. I don't know. Not really my vibe anymore. Seeing as I can't do it, it just makes me feel awful. The worst. And I was hungover on my birthday when I went to go get these tattooed. That was funny because I'd try and keep up with people that had a higher tolerance than me and or weighed more.
Oh, sure.
So I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. So I don't do tequila anymore. Well, I don't do any alcohol anymore. Drinking makes you feel free. Made me feel free. I didn't drink socially because that made my anxiety go up. I hate saying I enjoyed being tipsy, but like those free moments, same thing as like not being able to talk to the vape shop guy. Like I was able to talk freely and like more open, I guess, when I was drunk.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it messes with your amygdala inhibitors.
Okay.
Which are when you have a thought and you're like, oh, don't say that.
Yep.
That's your amygdala inhibitors.
Sorry.
So like, yeah, when I...
Don't say that.
Yeah, like... And then you're drunk, so you say the thing, and then
fuck yeah, you do.
Somebody's like, "Hey, don't make jokes about HPV." Okay. Oh. And you're like, "Fuck! I thought it was really funny."
I thought that was a good one. In my head, it sounded so good.
When people say like you're more yourself when you're drunk and shit like that, it's more so that this firewall, more or less, is removed, and so all of the pop-up ads start showing up, and then you say whatever you see on those pop-up ads.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
With that, was the thought that this is how I can communicate with people, is if I'm under the influence, or was that just something you realized kind of later on?
I think I realized it later on, because I never felt great after drinking. I'm kind of a thin person, so I couldn't drink very much, but I would still try to drink a lot. And I remember, I think we were drinking at my house, and I woke up and my mom was like, "How are you?" And I was like, "Awful." And she said, "Yeah, you are awful." And I'm not closing the curtains. She said, "You got to live with this shit." And so, like, having those, not responsibilities, what's the word? Those things, you have an action and then a consequences. There we go. Sure. You got to live with that. That's all you. You made that decision.
The repercussions.
There we go. My mom was like, "No, what the fuck? No. You have to go get this tattoo now when you're extremely hungover because you drank too much. And now you have to learn a lesson." Because we'd always go out for Halloween or do something on Halloween. My birthday's the next day.
Yeah.
So I would be fucking hungover as fuck. Finley's like, "Yeah, remember when you sat in the basement and were a bitch that whole day because you were hungover on your birthday?" And I said, "Yeah, I do, actually." That wasn't a good one. So because I couldn't do the weed, when I was introduced to the cocaine, that shit hit. Let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is the one for me. I can do this one and I'm fine. There's fine. They made one for me. It's for me." I literally thought that.
Do you have ADHD or ADD or any?
I don't think so. I think I have, it's like baby OCD.
Okay.
Because my manager at work has OCD, and she's like, "Yeah, I have those things of like, if my breakfast sandwiches aren't all lined up how they're supposed to be, something bad's going to happen." And I go, "Okay." So I go, "Perfect. I love all the labels facing the same way too, but I don't have that other part of it where I'm like, something bad's going to happen."
Sure.
I just probably just have really weird control issues from something else. I don't know. I don't think I have ADHD, but it would be fascinating to figure out what the fuck I actually do have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like someone needs to look at me and go, "That you're that one."
The reason I was asking is because cocaine for people with ADHD, it's like an amplifier.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of the random shit that flows through your head, now all of those things are incredible ideas.
Yes.
And we should follow through with all of them.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
So wait, how are you introduced to coke?
I'll tell the story.
Okay.
I'll tell the story. So I was living in Minneapolis at the time, and I was driving down Lyndale, and I clipped some guy's side mirror with my own.
Oh.
That shit was stressful. I have never done that before in my life. We ended up pulling over, I think by the Wedge.
Yeah.
Yeah, right over there. And go up to his window. I'm like shaking, like it's the fucking worst. And I go, oh shit, he's cute. Damn. And so we exchanged information, and then I had the worst, like, fucking awful anxiety about that. Like, the guilt and shame are two of my worst emotions that I feel, and I feel them very, very heavily, and so that shit sucked. I remember calling my mom, what the fuck did I do? And she's like, you just gotta wait until he figures his stuff out. So I think it was a couple weeks after I got a text from this guy. And at the moment, we thought it was a meet cute. We really did, because he was like, "Oh, and you're this," and then blah blah blah. So I ended up, I think, paying him a sum of money instead of getting our insurance involved or whatever it was, so it didn't make anything go up or down.
Sure.
We ended up going, or he invited me to a bar, and he's like, "I'm gonna go take a bump in the bathroom." I said, "What?"
Did you say take a dump in the bathroom?
I said, "Do you need me for that?" And I was like, huh? He's like, you don't? I said, no, I never. He went, oh, I'm so sorry. We'll wait then. So it was literally from this guy that I had hit with my car, which is like the most, it's kind of like a rom-com situation, but with awful consequences at the end. Not a happy ending. We went back to his place, and so picture it. I'm surrounded by all of these tall, like heavily tattooed, beautiful men. Damn.
And they all want you to do cocaine?
Yeah. So, because I had been drinking, so it didn't feel like how it does when you don't drink. So, like if you mix them together, that can get a little more dangerous.
Yeah.
So, like the really, really pretty one was like, "How do you feel?" And I was like, "Great, fucking amazing," because it lets you just sit there like this, or have a conversation without feeling stupid.
Yeah.
Which was my biggest thing, because I'm like talking to a fucking piece of cardstock, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't end up getting into it right away. So I did meet up with this guy a couple more times, and I was like, oh, can I pick up? He was like, yeah. So I kept it in like this little spot, and it was hidden. And I didn't touch it for a while, and then I did, and then I reorganized my entire bedroom. All of the furniture I moved, because I was so high. Like, but it felt good.
Yes.
It does feel good. The crash that you get from the chemicals, like they're pushing up your happy feeling so high that of course it has to crash, right? So I only felt that once, and that was the night or the day after I'd done it the first time, and I never felt it again. Because I Probably because I kept doing it. I kept trying to ride that high.
Yeah.
And it started off, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Then I reorganized my room, and I would put it back. And then I would take it out again. And then I would do it. I had a really weird kind of work schedule, so I had 2 jobs at that time. So I'd work my regular job in the mornings, and then I had another little thing in the afternoons that I did. So I would be up very early and going to bed very late. So what did my brain think? Oh my God, I have something that makes me feel so awake. This is going to be so great and happy. This is going to be fucking awesome. This is going to be rad. So at first I started only doing it at home, right? And me driving the 40 minutes to my work like this. Like, fuck yeah. And then I would start to leave little lines out on the coffee table for myself in the morning. I go, oh, morning, Davey's going to love this. And I started to create a routine. I'd get up, hit a line, do my 50 sit-ups or whatever the fuck, and then get ready for work and go. but I kept it at my apartment.
Mm.
And then I didn't. And I even had like a little like go bag for it. I had a bunch of like snort straws and I like silica gel packets because that shit gets sticky in the heat and humidity. So yeah, I would keep it in the freezer, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then it would be do it in my car. And then it would be, do I bring it with me into places? I'm like, oh, it's fine. Because you lose that sense of fear around it because you've been doing it for so long and you're like, I'm fine. This isn't legal. This isn't something I could get seriously in trouble for. Because your brain's like tricking itself. Like, this makes you feel like this is fine. This is fine.
Well, so the dopamine, I know it messes with your serotonin too, but
oh yeah,
with the dopamine, your subconscious brain just thinks you're surviving. So it's not like that subconscious part doesn't realize it tries, so it will manipulate your brain into whatever dialogue it needs to so that you use the thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So subconscious part just goes, we need the thing that introduces more of the dopamine.
Yeah, because like where's that?
We've carved out this huge fucking channel in their brain so they can take more, but now we also need to have it at like a baseline needs to be
met before. Yeah. I was up to 2 grams a week.
Woo.
Yeah. And it was more like I wanted to see my dealer and like I'd pick up more often to see him, but then of course you're going to keep picking up more often because you're using more often.
Yeah.
So like when you're emotionally tied to a substance like that's it for you. Because you're not really realizing what's happening because your brain's just like, yep, we have to do this because of this.
Yes.
Because you want this person to want you, you're going to use more. I have a bunch of voice memos in my phone from when I would have those weird little crashes of like the break in reality, and I would get so scared about stuff like, oh, I'll quit tomorrow, or I'll this, all that, and I have not listened to those because I'm not ready for that kind of mental attack. But I would never quit the next day. I would keep doing it. So I basically did it on the daily for like 9 months.
Now, so this is before the relationship that you started? Because we've talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
So 9 months, you meet somebody who wants you to be clean.
Yes.
So tell me more about that.
When I moved into my new place in Minneapolis, I got Tinder. Whoop, whoop. And Devil's Dandruff makes you feel so fucking confident. Is it rizzing?
Yeah.
I was rizzing it up. I was fucking left and right. Boom, boom, boom. Like, so I was going on a bunch of dates, like talking to a lot of people. And this guy was the one, like, when we would talk, it would be more emotional, like deep thoughts.
Sure.
The week that we went on our first date, like I had two or three dates lined up for that week. So there was a guy the day before I went on the date with my now ex, and getting up early, going to bed late, like I was fucking zooted. Like I was, damn, yeah. Looking back now, I'm like, how did people not see? Yeah, it's fine. We'll talk about that in a second. We can talk about that in a second. So yeah, I went out with this guy and it was just, he was so easy to talk to. But on the second date, I was like, I do drugs. I do cocaine. And he said, what? What? So he also had some anxiety problems, and that was something that scared the shit out of him.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. He was like eyes wide frightened. Because, you know, the paths your brain goes down, like if you do this, you're going to go to jail, you're going to die, you're going to whatever. And like, of course, those always come up to the forefront when you are predisposed to anxiety. So he was just more afraid of what might happen to me.
Yep.
And so I didn't actually quit until we went to emo night. We were supposed to go with a bunch of friends and they all fucking canceled on me, which is fine. So it ended up just being me and Max. And my plan was to selfishly put the drug onto someone else, like the physical
Okay.
drug, have someone else have it, so I don't do it. I didn't want to get rid of it, you see. I didn't want to do that one, because what if I wanted to go back to it? What if I wanted to just have it? What if,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get rid of it, so I like tried to pawn it off on some people. I was like, can you like change the lock on my lockbox for me so I don't know what it is, and blah, 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 and like trying to make it so I didn't have to get rid of it.
Yep.
And his bottom line was, you cannot do this if we are to be together. So it was a whole moment of flushing it down the toilet.
Oh, wow.
Together. It's solidified, because you think of it of, do I want this chemical, or do I want a relationship with a like actual human person that probably, that does care about me, that has said they care about me? Do I want this more than feeling love from someone else? So that shit was hard.
Yeah.
I didn't have any withdrawal symptoms other than I had made such a habit of myself to wake up and do it that I woke up and went, what do I do right now? What do I do?
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, but I have this person now, so that's good. I'm doing it for this person. If we take anything away from this, do not do something for someone else. Do it for yourself.
Were you still drinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, before I even started doing coke, I had started to drink heavily every night. Not to the point where I was hungover the next day, but I was doing I loved Angry Orchard. I love that shit. I have 3 of those a night. Every night.
Yeah, we start to do addict math,
Mhm.
which is there's a feeling that comes on where you're like, okay, if I drink more, because 5 minutes from now, I'm going to feel a little more drunk than this thing that's happening right now. So I need to stop now because I know the edge is 5 minutes away.
Oh yeah. So I had kind of a traumatic event happen at my first apartment, and I was not in a good place. So the fact that I attached to a chemical drug that made me happy made sense.
Okay.
And the fact that I was drinking before then was also trying to feel better about something. Who knows what it was? You mix in the eating disorders and all that other stuff. It's all a control problem for me.
Did you have an eating disorder as well?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
How old were you when that started?
I was in high school. It was kind of a mix between regular anorexia and athletic induced anorexia.
Sure.
So I was pretty active in middle school. I was the middle schooler that had abs and didn't know it.
Okay.
So I wouldn't eat that day if I had not worked out. I was really invested in track and field, and I think at the beginning of high school I weighed 130.
Okay.
And that number, I must have liked it a lot because I needed to be at 130 or I was doing something wrong.
Okay.
So that I didn't get help for that. I ended up, I raw dog a lot of shit. I really do need to see somebody about some of this stuff. I do still have, I'll call it a control problem with food.
Sure.
I've been eating the same meal for a year. People they'd get pizza and I'd be like, no, I don't eat bread.
A lot of the people that I talk to when it comes to eating disorders, they call it a relationship because it's this weird, almost like it's looking at you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's fucking staring me down, dog. Yeah. So to this day, I know I do have a problem with food, but it's not, I haven't weighed myself in a while and I don't plan on doing that anymore. I am generally pretty tiny for how tall I am.
You look fantastic.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. So where was I going with that? Oh yeah, when I stopped drinking, I lost some of those drinking pounds, right?
Oh, sure.
And I got extremely thin.
Okay. So that reward from removing a thing, you started to go, what else can I remove to continue? Yeah.
So I was controlling my food and I was also inhaling something that didn't make me want to eat.
Oh, yeah.
So my family would say, yeah, you looked like I could just break you over my knee. Man. thin. And I thought I looked great. Of course I thought I looked good. I was like, damn, you look great. You're fucking killing it right now. You look awesome. Cause like I already had like visible abs, but like every single muscle in my body, like all of my veins were so prevalent. And I was like, fuck yeah. Because my aesthetic, I'm like, yeah, I want to look like a Google. I want to look fucking creepy. I want to look like a skeleton. Like that's my shit. I want to look fucking weird, but also hot. So there was this one vein in my forehead that was just always there.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because like I was so dehydrated.
Oh,
and like every single thing was just so, yeah. And I do still have abs, thank you very much, but I don't. I try not to think about how I look more in terms of like people thinking that I look good. Like,
sure.
well, I look good for myself. It used to be I wanted to look good for guys,
Right.
and I don't do that anymore, or girls. Thank you. Anybody? Hi. Now it's more how can I keep my body healthy?
Sure.
Which is, mom's like, I'm gonna get us this, and I'm like, my brain goes, you can't eat that. That's a noodle.
Mm-hmm.
You don't eat that. That makes you bloat. And then I go, no, you know what? I'm gonna fucking eat noodles right now, body. Thank you so much. So it's that inner dialogue, that fight you have to win with yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I also had goes back to control issues. I had a little dance with bulimia. So
Whoop, whoop.
yes, I would drink, and then I would eat a lot.
Okay.
Because when I was drunk, I was like, oh my God, 2 full bags of those like honey barbecue twist Frito bullshit things.
Oh my
So
God.
fucking good. 2 bags. I'd eat 2 full bags and go, oh, I don't like myself right now. And then
Purge.
yeah. I did that for a while. And then it was like, oh, this is connected to drinking. So I had to kind of figure all that shit out because all this is happening and sometimes you don't even realize it. You're like, this is it. But it was just because you're trying to gain a sense of control in your life because something's wrong. But you don't even know what it is.
Yep.
So you're fucking crazy. We're insane.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy shit. So like the in between my 2 apartments, I had to live with my parents, or I had the privilege to live with my parents.
Gracias.
For, thank you, mom and dad, for like a month and a half because like this new apartment didn't work out. This roommate thing, yeah, it fucking fell apart. And I was like, yeah, zooted higher than a motherfucking kite the entire moving process.
So were you okay?
I'm throwing a lot out at you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So let's get back to, so you start this relationship.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I got so far away from that. I'm so
That's
sorry.
okay.
Maybe I do have
It's
ADHD.
honestly not that far away from it. Well, I mean, we're trying to cover a million things.
We are.
So I get it. This happens to me all the fucking time. So you start dating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to, did it feel like he wanted some sort of control over your routine and things like that? Or was it just he didn't want you to do substances?
I think it was just because he didn't have any other things that he needed me to do, or he didn't want me to be a certain way. He just wanted me to not do this.
Okay.
So he was very, very chill. He just wanted to make sure that I was okay.
All right.
But in my brain, I was like, I can't wait until he says I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll let me do it. I was always thinking about it. I couldn't wait to go back.
Would you joke about cocaine or like say it like, if he laughs, then, or no, how does it work? It's, if he says okay, cool. If not, it's a fucking joke, dude.
Oh my God, that was such a joke. I don't know if I actually voiced that to him. We did have a lot of heart-to-hearts about it because I'd be like, I'm having a bad brain day. I'm having a BBD. Where just, I'm so hyper-focused on it, and then I like want to treat him like shit so that he breaks up with me so that I can do it. I hope I never treated him like shit. That would make me feel so awful. Because I genuinely did care about this guy, so I wasn't gonna be like, yo, fuck you. But in back of my brain, I was like, oh, maybe he'd let me do it if, oh, maybe.
Yeah.
So the fact that it was doing it for him, a relationship that can fail.
Mm-hmm.
I still had some ecstasy, which I didn't use together with Coke because it lessened the potency of the Coke for me. So I didn't mix those two together. So whatever mood I was in, I was like, I need something. And my addict brain was like, you can go back, you can have some X. Like, that's not the same as Coke. It's not the same. So you're not relapsing. That's not that. That's not what that is. So I would like microdose on ecstasy. And then, one day I took like a full thing and I went to work and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm sweating like a motherfucker. Fuck yeah. And, but afterwards I was like, fuck no. Oops, I don't feel great. So, yep. Hey, can I come? I need something. I picked up 2 grams. And I lied. And I said, oh, I just did a line. I didn't buy any. It doesn't feel the same going back to it. You romanticize the fuck out of a thing so much that you're like, oh my God, it's going to be just like the first time I hit it. No, your nose still hurt. You hadn't had it for months and you hit it and your nose was like, oh my God, fucking ouch. Owie. And I had it in my possession. I was lying and it was eating me up. Of course it should. And that phone call of like admitting to everything, thinking, oh, is he going to break up with me? I'm scared of that. But why should I be scared of that if I went back knowing that he could break up with me? He has every right to, because that was his bottom line. And I like threw like 1.5 grams out the window when I was driving. I was like so distraught. It doesn't feel good to make a mistake like that on purpose. And he did take me back. But now there's a little crack in the relationship. Yeah. In the foundation of that. Because the foundation was, do not do this. Yeah, I ended up like ending it anyways.
Interesting.
Just because I don't know, I wasn't getting something that I needed. I don't know. It just didn't feel right. And to keep him in this relationship felt wrong.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's a tough thing to. You've created a mini traumatic episode because when you're going through that, right? You take the X, go to work, all that shit feels like it might as well have been like a week to 2 weeks time span. Yeah. Because it's so fucking heavy. Yeah. And anytime you get a look of like, it seems like they don't trust you in whatever moment, it just throws you back to like, I don't want to feel this way. Yeah. I don't want to like be scared that you're going to question who I am or how I'm acting. It's fucking brutal, dude. Yeah. It was, And then on top of that, probably thinking this dude's awesome. I'm a piece of shit. Oh yeah. That's exactly what it was, because he will never know how grateful I am to him for getting clean the first time. Who knows where I would be right now? Yeah. Under a bridge. Probably. I would have blown all my money. I would be nowhere good. So I do owe him so much for that. Sure. And also, like, this was my first relationship with anybody ever. Oh. Yes. That's even bigger. Yes. And it was his too. Interesting. And so I carry a lot of guilt from that, because like, I hope he's doing good. I hope has a relationship, and my brain goes, that it's not like ours. That doesn't have what you did in it. I mean, I know all relationships have things in it that don't go right. Right. Man, the shit. Yeah, I hate that I did that. I fucking hate it. Yeah. So you end the relationship. Were you guys living together? No. Okay. Are you at your folks or in an apartment at this point? I'm at my parents right now. So after I ended the relationship, I was like, fuck yeah, time to go back. Fuck yeah, let's do it. And that didn't really feel good at all. It carried so much on it,
so much shame.
Were there any friends that were doing it with you?
No. So I didn't do it for a social aspect. I did it to make myself happy. And I had people that knew about what I was doing, but I hid it as well as I could.
Sure.
What was actually going on. Because they'd be like, just be careful. And I'd be like, yeah, I gotcha. I'd come in, I'd be like, didn't do it today. A lie. My mom, I was telling her about my ex, and I was like, yeah, we're together. And she's like, oh, is he good for you? I said, yeah, he doesn't let me do a certain thing. And she goes, cocaine? Cocaine? And I said, yeah. And she's like, I guess, but like, that makes sense. And like having to like come clean about it to your family is brutal in its own way. And I already felt like the fuck up kid out of the three of us. They'll say that I'm not, but I still felt that way for a while. I'll never forget Finley saying, I could tell something was up because your eyes looked dead.
That was the thing. That stuck with me. When you told me that, I like... that
nothing behind him.
Hit so hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The physicality of how I was looking and having nothing going on between my eyes.
Yeah.
That one, I didn't know what to say for that one. And it was crazy. And I hope I have something behind them now. But like going, like after we broke up and I was like, yeah, time to go back. Let's fucking live it up. Go back to my, old routine that I so desperately wanted so very bad.
So back to the morning lines?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I was like, I'm trying to, let's do it. I romanticized like being an addict and having mental health issues to the point where I was like, this makes me so fucking cool. Kind of like having a cigarette.
Yeah. There's this weird thing. So there was a counselor in the treatment center that I was at that said, I want you to write out a letter, and we're basically having a funeral for your addiction. So, because when you become sober, you do mourn the loss of this thing. Because in the back of my mind, I'm like, for the first year, I was so upset that I knew what being drunk or being high was like, and I couldn't participate anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But there's all these other people who are able to do it, function, what have you.
Yeah.
And so I used to say like sobriety is a curse because I fucking know what it was like before. So when you go through, most addicts go through that mourning period, mm-hmm. to then, drag it through the Lazarus pit and fucking bring it back to life. Yeah, it's not going to be the same.
Not at all.
Yeah. And that relationship, like, unfortunately was built over a period of time to get to whatever point it was before you left it, mm-hmm. to then try to pick it back up like nothing had happened.
Yeah.
Your body's like, we need a fucking second.
Yeah. Holy shit. Give me a break. And I think it was the last time I did it was the last time I saw my dealer. So that was a Monday, May 1st, and then May 2nd was the start of my now 181 days today.
So awesome.
Thank you. And then because that Friday I had scheduled a doctor's appointment to go in for a physical and to get back on medication because I was like, so what's the point of this breakup if I'm not going to better myself, right? Like that was the whole thing of, then I added, I'm not going to do drugs anymore because this isn't bettering myself because I think my ex and I were going to meet up a month after the breakup to see how we were doing. But it ended up being that we were better not together. But the whole goal of us breaking up was so that I could get my shit together. Because I fucked up and I got to change that. So I wasn't going to show up to the doctors trying to get medication that possibly the cocaine was messing with anyways. Like in my brain.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? I was like, I have to have a clean slate for this because otherwise it's not going to work. Then why am I paying or going to go see? It's for nothing. So my doctor, like when we have our little phone call, she's like, how many days is it? I'm so proud of you. And I go, what the fuck? Thank you so much. And it's a good feeling to hear that from somebody. Sometimes like she doesn't know me from Adam. Like she doesn't know shit about me really, except for the physical she did on me. But just having that from someone felt really, really good. And that kind of spurred me on to going, all right, this is where I need to be. And going to therapy. The medication that I was on the first time fucked me up. I was crazy motherfucker. I was like having huge highs and lows and crying all the time and like foggy brain. It wasn't right. So
Do you remember what it was?
Escitalopram.
Oh.
Yeah. So in high school, I was on sertraline. So I was like, oh, let's try this other one. That's cool. Some of my family members are on that one. Let's try it. Nope, didn't work. And that's okay. So we switched back to sertraline. And in high school, I think I was on 200 milligrams. But now I'm on like 75. And she's like, did you want to change it? And I was like, I'm okay where I am at this low dose. So the goal right now is to keep on going.
Yeah.
Every single day. And I have such a great support system in my family. And they don't know how much it means to me, I don't think. But I wouldn't be here without that support from people. And it breaks my heart that some people don't have that. And I'm so grateful to have the people that I do have with me. Even talking about, I was like, oh, I'm nervous for this podcast, Mom. And she's like, well, this might bring up some stuff, and if you're not okay, I'll make sure everyone's available for a phone call after. And then Finley will be home and so is your dad. And I was like, my brain says that I don't deserve this.
Oh my God, yes.
I don't deserve this at all. I was a huge fuck up for a while. Thought I was doing good. Now I was fucking up very prominently. And my family still is accepting me and loving me and taking care of me. And I can't even put it into words how much it means to me. Like, to this day, I still think, like, I'm the not smart one. I'm the stupid one. I'm the family fuck up, blah, blah, blah. But I have to throw that in the trunk for a little bit and just go, you know what? No. We're doing the best that I can every single day. And I'm going to continue to do that. In my brain right now, there are no thoughts of going back. Mm-hmm. Some days I go, oh man, if I just had this. And then I go like, what? Get out of here. Ew. Get that shit out of here. That is not helpful at all. Imagine if you did it right now, where would you be? What would happen? You'd go, oh, this fucking sucks again. Yeah. So we're not going to do that. We're going to keep going. My mom says that I raw dogged my recovery legitimately because I did not go to any treatment places. I just cold turkey that shit.
Ugh.
And
so you just sweat it out?
It was more of a mental. Yeah. So like when I walked into the shop and I saw you and I was like, I know that you do stuff on like sobriety. I was like, I got to tell this hoe. Hey, listen, I said, last time you saw me, I was not doing well. And here I am, hopefully doing better than I was. And so, like, even being asked to be on here, I was like, or when you said, do you want to put in your last name? I was like, you know what? Whoever needs to see this is going to see it. And that's okay. I still am ashamed of the things that I've done, but I've done them. So I just have to come to grips with whatever the fuck I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I can't focus too much on the past. I have to look at it sometimes to figure some shit out, but I don't have to live in the past. I have to live in the now to keep going.
Well, and I think it's important too, because you have such a wonderful energy and vibe about you that like, you just draw people in.
Thank you.
Like, it's seriously, I was so happy when you were in. And then I had like a little buzz going for the next hour or so after you had left.
Aww.
And so it's important for people to realize that some people think that like cocaine is just this random thing that happens to people.
Yeah.
But it is highly fucking addictive.
Yeah, it is.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
Mm-mm.
And so when you're in these situations where you're like, oh, wouldn't it be crazy if I did a fucking line right now?
Yeah.
Don't do the line.
Yeah. Your brain goes, what if?
Yeah.
What if? Right now, do it right now.
And yeah, especially if you're somebody who, because I've heard a lot, oh, I only do cocaine when I'm drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just because, it's such a wild thing to do, or, Tom brought
Yeah.
a fucking
Tom brought a bag.
Yeah. And so it seems like this random thing, but you don't realize how much you could be just hooked.
Yeah.
For a lot of the people that I met in treatment, like, were on the verge of death because of cocaine.
Yeah.
And to trying to mitigate, like, you drink a lot and then you feel like shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you have all this cocaine or somebody that you can go to.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, when I do coke, I feel better.
Yeah.
And you're mixing all this shit.
Yes.
And then you're trying to figure out this rhythm of, like, if I either need to be just straight up on the snow, right?
Fuck yeah.
Plowing away.
Yep.
Or I've already had a drink. My inhibitors are fucked up. So why not do a line?
It's right there.
But then, just listening to these guys talk about, like, the amount of cocaine, and a lot of times it was like whiskey or bourbon.
Okay.
The amount that they were doing. And there was one guy that I met who he talked to a counselor, and they were like, we can't get you in for 2 days. So unfortunately, to make sure that you don't have a seizure and die before you get here,
damn,
you got to kind of keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that is so, like, terrifying of a thought to me, because you're, high or wasted brain. It's so easy to go, I am not fucking going to treatment then.
Yep.
Like,
fuck that. The old me thought that.
Yeah. Or like dudes that were, like, in the parking lot doing heroin, or, like, snorting lines, like smoking meth, like the amount of shit that goes down in the parking lot because they're like, all right, this is my last ride.
Yes.
And they go into treatment high. And it was completely all walks of life.
Yes.
So, like, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how stable you think you are. There was a millionaire that I was like my guy the whole time I was in treatment. And he almost died like 3 times because of cocaine and alcohol.
Yeah.
And so you're like, but this guy had everything. Why the fuck would he do that?
Yeah.
All it takes is one time for somebody to be like, dude,
this shit rocks.
You want to do some fucking coke?
Hell yeah.
And you're like, yeah,
why not?
I got everything under control.
Yeah, because I think everyone hits their rock bottom at different points. So mine was in a place where I was physically okay-ish. So there are those people that are physically not okay, and they have to, like, their body is so dependent on this that they will have complications from quitting. Like, but I hit my low point before that.
Okay.
And so thinking about those people that are at rock bottom, like, I could have been there potentially. And it's a scary thought of, where would I be right now? Would I have had to go to someplace like that? And it doesn't fucking matter. Like you said, man, this guy has a whole bunch of money. Like, why the fuck is he doing this? Well, number one, he can afford it.
Yeah.
And number two, drugs do not discriminate against shit.
Yeah.
They go, we want all of you. We'll take all of you if we can. Why not? And I had it was interesting, like, my doctor was like, oh, the coke didn't make you more anxious? I was like, nah, I was chiller than a motherfucker. I was so high functioning during my, like, periods of heaviest use. I would, like, disassociate. I'd lose, like, little patches of time. Like, I bought a pair of shoes one time. That was fun. And then the second time I ended up shaving off half of my eyebrows, which, debatable on whether it looked good or not. I thought it did. I was that alternative hoe. But I would, like, run red lights because I was just so zoinked. And I would, like, I think the longest I went was maybe 3 or 4 days without sleep. Like, yeah. It was
Any hallucinations from?
I don't know. I just was wired. And
Yeah.
normally it was fine. I used to be able to do it before I went to bed. Yeah. And so like I would just like, I can't sleep right now. I can't sleep right now. So I would just watch America's Next Top Model all night.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then get up and go, okay, it's time for work. 3 fucking days. Yeah. So like I did romanticize like the addiction for sure, 100%. I was like, this is cool. This makes me edgy and cool. I do cocaine. That's fucking cool.
I remember, was it Lily Allen? I think that's her name. She was this kind of alternative pop star.
Yeah.
And I remember she was in an interview and she was like, I have tons of friends who do cocaine and are fully functioning. And it's like, that's such a weird thing that you're so clearly saying to try to make yourself feel better about how much cocaine you're doing. Like,
yeah. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Oops, sorry.
I've said this before, but I got promoted while I was drunk at work.
Okay.
It was very hard for people to wrap their head around the fact that I was an alcoholic because I wasn't seemingly doing anything that alcoholics do.
Yes.
So it was very, surprising to people. Like, some people thought it was a joke. Like when I made a Facebook post that said, "Hi, my name's Chris and I'm an alcoholic." Right. So the classic like AA introduction. And yeah, some people thought it was a joke and they were like posting pictures of them drinking. And I was like, I get why you guys would think this is a joke, but I'm genuinely
this is dead ass right now.
I'm in a treatment center right now.
Yeah. I'm not here right now. I'm posting from somewhere else. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is like, it doesn't matter like what is being showcased. If somebody is like contemplating, like if somebody says, "Do you think I have a problem?" Ask them, "Why do you think you have a problem?"
Yeah.
Rather than doing the confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Of like, no.
You're fine.
You're fine.
You seem fine to me.
My cousin fucking drinks and drives every weekend. You're not as bad as him.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing of
you
like,
could be worse.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than that, doing the why would you ask that?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that's making you feel like maybe you do have an issue?
I had a lot of those. A lot of those moments where I was like, oh, I'd come up to friends and like, oh my gosh, they're like, okay, like we're here for you. But I didn't have a reason to stop and it was hard to stop. I didn't have any like, because my family didn't know. This was like,
what was the final straw? Because you kind of said it was May, you did a line, and then the next day you were like, I'm out.
Of course, it wasn't as good as the first time because you have to keep doing more to achieve the same high, which can be dangerous potentially. And I was just sick and tired of like having to use like a nasal spray to keep my nose open. And like I had like open abrasions in my nose. Like I was afraid of going nosebleeds. Yeah. My first one I thought was so fucking cool. Of course I did, right? Fuck yeah. The scary side effects became very, very real. I was like, I don't want to have to not be able to sleep all night because my nose is like fucking closed all the way around. Like mouth breathing like a loser over here. Like and the fact that more people knew about it because I'd already become clean once already and I had shared what I was going through with some people. The wider that pond gets of people that know about it, the more I would feel like I'm letting them down. Mm-hmm. And, oh, damn, Davey went back. That sucks. And my mama said, I'll keep supporting you, but not if you go back. And I'm like, you're real as fuck for that, Mom. Yeah. But like outside of my family, it's those people that I'm like, oh, what are they going to think of me? Or whatever. So even them knowing the fact that I did drugs, like my mom went out with some family friends, like all the parents, and was telling them about my shit, which I am okay with. I'm totally okay with. But then like, one of them was like, how'd they go to work? Mom's like, very high functioning. That's correct. I was. But then I realized that these people who saw me as a child now knew that I had a problem with addiction. And I like started crying. She's like, oh, and I said, I'm so sorry. I just finally realized that people are going to know about this. And I have to come to terms with that fact. That is a part of me now. It makes me who I am now. And so I have to learn to not be embarrassed of that fact. So that's why I'm doing this here today, right now, talking to you. I don't really know shit about you, but I'm telling you this because I trust you and I like you. And talking to someone that has also gone through similar things, I haven't really had that opportunity to do that.
Well, and
so I appreciate you a lot. I just want you to know that. I think you're really fucking cool.
You are fucking cool. Okay?
No, you.
Dorian.
Super
fucking cool.
Fuck yeah.
But I mean, this is most of the, or a lot of the people that have come on, they've never been on a podcast before. They've never like projected.
This is my debut.
The shit that they're going through. So I view this as a form of therapy as well.
100%.
Because it's something that you can look back on too and be like, if you are having those low moments, what was I trying to showcase when I was talking on this show?
Yeah.
And why do I want to feel like empowered in all of these things? So I think it's a good reminder, but also, that relatable thing. My thing is I just want people to not feel alone, because in the addiction world, support system is like one of the biggest things for relapse is like you don't have anybody, or you feel like they don't fucking care.
Yeah.
And so what's the point? Why did I go through treatment? Why did I do all of this shit if nobody fucking cares? And I mean, I met dudes that had gone through treatment 8 times.
Wow.
And another guy, I mean, 3 of the dudes that I was in there with are dead. And it's so knowing how high the relapse rate is and knowing that the shame that comes along with the relapse is so severe that suicidal ideation is right around the corner. I mean, that's the whole reason why I'm sober now, is because I was convinced that I would never be able to stop drinking. So I tried to hang myself. It just didn't feel like there was any point in being around for my kids if I was going to be this guy. It didn't feel like, why am I going to continue to let my family down? My brothers have fucking had enough. My parents are disappointed as shit.
Yeah.
Like all of these things that you're just like, what the fuck does it matter? And then when I went to treatment, watching them show the fuck up, like it was, I had no idea how vital that was, because they were all willing to, my oldest brother started reading books on like how the brain works, like all of these things that you're just like, I'm watching my brothers and sisters in this treatment facility sit alone and not have anybody. And why do I get this? And so, I mean, so there's 2 reasons why I podcast. 1, codependency. 2, I desperately want people to feel like they don't have to put on airs to be accepted. And that's why I mean, I haven't changed this room. It looks fucking ridiculous.
I think it looks cute.
But I mean, it's not your typical setting for people to talk about the darkest shit that they've been through.
No, you're right about that one.
There's a penis dragon with a cowboy hat.
Oh, hi.
There's all of these insane things.
Yeah.
But I mean, I appeared to be this happy, extroverted individual.
Yep.
I was doing stand-up comedy. I'm doing all this shit. And why would he be sad?
Yeah.
And I can look this way and still have all these feelings and still be capable of having serious conversation.
Yeah.
For all of those times that I talk to people, I desperately want them to feel like they can say whatever they want to. This isn't just about me being the wacky, say whatever he wants guy. You should feel that way too. You should feel like there's no pressure for me to have to fake the fact that I have anxiety or depression or whatever and all these things. And not only that, but like just saying it isn't enough. So we talk about these things, right?
Yeah.
Both of us are doing shit outside of this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my therapy. This is my NA and all that shit. But I carry it out and keep, the whole concept of like acts of service.
Yes. Yeah.
But I also say how I recognize that I am in a different place than a lot of people. And so I give out my number to fellow addicts because not everybody has. I had 12 people just at the ready to fucking help out, which is not common at all. A lot of times addicts have gone so far, they have maybe one person who was willing to hang on.
Yeah.
Versus all these people trying to understand addiction. And it's like, yeah, so I'm just stupid fucking lucky. I say that all the time. I'm insanely lucky. My wife has no reason to still be here. If you were to read like my journey on paper and for her to say, and I'm still with him, it would sound insane to people because self-destructive behavior, all the fucking bullshit that comes along with that. And then somehow I still have this, this house does not match me. Like
no, I walked in and I love all of the little Halloween doodads we have going on right now.
Yeah.
Like the skeleton is fucking bitching as fuck. I was like, Chris lives here? Because, you'd walk into like one of my old apartments and be like, God, Davey lives here. Like there's a fucking spider hanging from the ceiling or whatever it is. But like.
But again, like it's all this, I'm just lucky. And I have to continue to talk to people to let them know, like, I didn't really do anything magical. Honestly, majority of this is because of my codependency issues. It's the one mental health issue that it's kind of my ride or die mental health issue.
Yeah.
Because there's a ton of shit that I wouldn't have had I not been that, like, have you heard of white knight syndrome?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So like the concept that like I'm the only one that can fix this.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep.
I have to intervene. I have to do these things. That shit can get me in trouble. For sure.
Okay. So what does it look like for you? Like codependency?
Codependency. So it's issues with boundaries.
Okay.
So I get away with a lot.
Okay. Okay.
I think because of my like friendly disposition and like harmlessness or whatever. But yeah, I just say things, ask questions that most people don't normally ask. And then on top of that, I establish deep connections pretty quickly. But at the same time, like it's also so it's one of those things where like I saw what it did and what it can do. Now it's like, okay, I have this little cloud that I can kind of manipulate, and I can either expand it and, let people in or sit on this little cloud with me, or I can kind of keep it contained. And there's other ways of getting people to open up without being as.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Does that make sense? So like,
oh yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I mean, the fact that we've met twice?
Yeah, like 3 times. Yeah. Yeah.
And we already have like that connection.
Yeah.
It's not normal.
No, not really. That's really not.
So yeah, that's the superpower side of codependency.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
So recognizing your mental illnesses, and then you can sometimes use it to your advantage. I don't have the same fears that somebody who's introverted has.
Okay.
So let me go out, and if we need to do icebreakers with people, how much does a polar bear weigh? Enough to break the ice.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Steve Jobs.
Oh. So for me as an introvert, I would be happy to have you around.
You're
to
introverted?
do that. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. Tell me why you thought that maybe I wasn't one.
I would categorize you as an extroverted introvert.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we opened up.
Yeah, we did.
So yeah, so it is surprising to me, and maybe that's my codependency thing, just allowing people to not feel the anxiety of that introversion. But yeah, I can pick up on introverted people pretty quickly. And yeah, I did not suspect that.
Are you
with
more? Do you think you're an empath? Do you feel other
For
people's
sure.
shit? Okay, me too.
But again, that's, for me, it's a codependency thing.
Okay.
So because of, 33 years of that, because it started when I was like a toddler. Like I
Okay.
would just introduce myself to random people.
Hmm.
And so
Okay.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
But because I've been doing this for so long, I pick up on things that other people don't, because I put myself out there so much and so often.
You're really good at reading people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, my mental complication turned into this thing that now I can use to connect with people.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Heck yeah. I didn't really know that much about it. Or maybe I knew of it, but just not.
Most people associate it with romantic situations.
Yeah, I need to be with a person.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Which it can, for sure.
Sure.
But it also applies to friendships. And like I said, that white knight syndrome is a form of codependency, because you think that this person needs you to intervene for this thing. And because you're the only one that understands fully their situation.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So all of that is to say, fucking so happy that you're sober.
Thank you.
What are some coping mechanisms that you have picked up on so far? I know it's still pretty early, but some things that have helped you in those kind of tougher times.
Well, when I first quit, it was the second time. Instead of like doing a line, I would make myself an iced matcha latte with oat milk. I would replace one thing with another thing. I haven't really gone too deep into any coping mechanisms. I don't know if I just do some naturally. What I have been doing is I have a cat. Her name is Hazel, and she's a little menace. I got her during my addiction. Now I have this animal that needs to be alive, and I have to take care of it and feed it. And so by doing that, it reminds me I have to take care of myself so that I can take care of this little animal. Having the responsibility of taking care of something else is like, I have to stay competent enough to be able to do this for this animal, because I fucking adore the shit out of this cat.
That's so funny. I can't remember if we've talked about this before or not, but I literally have used that example for people. Purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It can be as simple as, I need to be coherent enough to take care of a cat.
Yeah.
I literally have said that to people. And that's perfect, because there is a reward from that too.
Mm-hmm.
And if something happens to your cat, you're able to get in the car, drive it to the vet,
and not be running red lights or not know where the fuck I am or whatever.
Yeah.
Or she kind of did save my life a little bit, like in addition to like the other people that were there to support me. But because I did find that when I was in a relationship, I did like the company of another person. That was my first relationship. On like my bad days when I'm like, I need to go to Target. I need my Target buddy. I hate to go into like shopping by myself.
Sure.
So I'll be like, Finley, you want to go to Target? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, cool, I'll buy you a little treat. So I'll find ways to still be able to function, but have support alongside of me while I do it. I watched something about Christian fundamentalism the other day, and I like had a little breakdown because I was like, oh shit, weird trauma. I didn't know I was crying, but it kind of made sense. And I was like, I gotta call Clay. And he was busy, but he was like, I'm so sorry, but we will talk when we can. He was like, we will talk about this. I'm not going to forget. Because I was like, who the fuck do I talk to about this? Like, what the fuck? And it's having those people. It's being... Vulnerability is very scary. It is goddamn frightening.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even the way that, like, you and I talk where we try and make other people feel comfortable, like, there is a certain aspect of us being vulnerable to get someone else to open up.
But it's almost like you're presenting something else.
Yeah.
So the real you is kind of over here, and you're floating this shiny thing that
Ooh.
will make them feel better.
Mm-hmm.
It's how I describe stand-up, because most comics have anxiety like baseline.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But when we're on stage, the jokes are what you're looking at. You're not looking at me.
No. I'm saying some funny
insane.
shit. Yeah. I'm a crazy bitch. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a huge thing with like massive depressive disorder, suicidal ideation. If somebody else is feeling that, we can show the fuck up and
Yeah, we
tell
can.
them exactly what we hope for them, what we suggestions that could help them, but we're not applying that to ourselves.
Oh, absolutely we're not. Absolutely the fuck we're not. So, like, I would be able to... I had a couple of partners at my work. I'm sorry, the coworkers. Starbucks wants to call them partners because we're all partners in the same company. We have shares.
Oh, okay.
So some
I thought
fellow
you were saying
partners.
you have like a polygamy thing going on?
Not yet.
Polygamy, polyamory. Why was polygamy is the Mormon thing?
It is, yeah. They were trying to quit nicotine. So I've had tiny little bouts with that. Like one time I was sicker than a motherfucking dog and I couldn't have my Jewel at the time. Julius Caesar was his name. And so I was like withdrawing from caffeine and nicotine while being laid out in bed. And, so I've been through a little bit of nicotine withdrawal. But of course I went right back to it after I was fine.
Of course.
I didn't need to go back to it, but I wanted it. So I had a couple of coworkers that were trying to quit vaping. And that shit is hard because for a cigarette, as my mom would say, you have to go outside for a cigarette. But you can vape wherever the fuck you want unless someone catches you.
Right. Or you ghost it.
Oh, yeah. Like when we were talking about this, like this one partner that I had, she was having a really, really tough time with it because like she had some other stuff, like a history of something in her family, and it was just coming down, and the weight of it on her of being like, I don't want to be an addict like the rest of my family. Like I said all of these things to her that I probably could have said to myself, right? You deserve to be here right now. You are so loved. Like everyone's here for you. Like you have my number, blah blah blah. And it just being able to, like, they know what I've been through. Like I shared my story with some of my coworkers, not all of them, but being able to use my knowledge of things now that I have, even though it's not a lot. I mean, but I've been through trying to quit something and still thinking about it every goddamn day. Yeah. And it is hard.
That is interesting. Like being sober. Yeah, I do. I think about some form of substance every single day.
Yeah. Every day. One of my coworkers that's like still works with me is, however many weeks, and she'd come up and go, it's this day. And I go, fuck yeah, it is. And you're going to keep on fucking going. And I'm so proud of you. And, you stumble, and that's okay because you have realized that you don't want to keep doing this thing that you're doing. And I know that it's hard to stop, but you are going to do it because you're stronger than a motherfucker. But like you were saying, like we can say these things, but we probably should just be telling ourselves that.
Yeah.
And then, we go home and we're like, no, you've already said what you needed to say. You just said it to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting because you do feel a little more empowered because of these things. And I get what you're saying. Like, you don't feel like you know much, but the shit that you've been through is tenfold what somebody else has been through. Like, I've done things where people are like, I can't imagine doing those things. And it's like, that's fine. If that freaks you out, great. Just so you know, that could be you.
Yeah.
So if you're worried about it now, I always tell people like, especially those who like are on the fence as to whether they should quit or not, because people will call or text me and be like, I got wasted over the weekend and I feel like shit. And it's like, well, are you sober today? That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares? Forget about that. As long as you didn't kill anybody, the only thing you have to worry about is today.
Yeah.
So just keep going. One
step at a time. Like you're saying, like, oh, I just said, I don't know that I know a lot of stuff about this. I have gone through some shit. And it's hard to like not compare yourself to others in that point where you're like either they're on this side or like this side. They've done nothing or they've done it all. And you're like, well, I'm kind of over here in the middle. Like, where does that leave me? No, you're still on there. You're still a little, that's you. And it's okay. You like comparing yourself to like I said, these people that hit rock bottom at the worst time in their life. When I hit rock bottom, thankfully not that far down. And I shouldn't feel this way because I didn't have it as bad as someone else.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's not, we can't think like that. I had to like stop myself from thinking that the other day. I was like, hello. You've gone through a lot. Some of it you don't say out loud because you don't want to, and that's okay. There's some things that need to sit with you. Like, the reason why I haven't listened to those goddamn voice memos on my phone is because I'm scared of them. It's because it was from when I was really low. And I don't want them to bring me back down to that. But at a certain point, I will be able to look back on it with like the correct lens.
Yeah.
I guess, instead of looking at it like, oh shit, that's when you fucked up. No. That's just some things you were thinking at that time. They were important to you at that time, so maybe they're important to you now. Who knows? But the scale of it where you think, oh, yeah, just be happy you weren't here and be there for people who are there.
Yes.
I had this guy come in, this customer, and I didn't really know a lot about him. He just seemed like a cool guy because like he dressed real cool and was edgy, and I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Live your power. I fucking love it. I love the alts that come in my store, man. That's fun. I never feel more loved and cared for than when I see the other like alt baddies come in.
Yeah.
Like, especially when I had my bridge piercing, we'd like fucking kiki and like, oh my God, yeah. And I always get afraid that I'm going to get hate crimed by an old white one, but it's okay. But this guy was, he told my coworker that he had created this company called Sober Boards. And so I said, I'll say his name. Can I say his name?
Yeah.
I said, hey, Sean, I heard what you said to my coworker. I just want to tell you I'm however many days sober, clean today. And he told me a little about his story, like back in California, like this whole long thing. And he said, yeah, I wanted to make a company that like he said, you walk into a Zoomies and what do you see? A whole bunch of like drug shit.
Yeah.
He's like, but what if you are in the community, but you are not an addict, or you don't want a fucking huge pot leaf or something that has to do with a gang relation on it. He's like, so what do we do? So he created his own company. I think it's in the very early stages, but it's going to be like clothing, different types of merch, and like skateboards, I think, that are designed without any like drug affiliation. And I was like, that's so fucking cool of you.
Yeah.
Right now, here to do this, whether or not you're still struggling with your addiction, like that's your own journey. Who am I to say, why do you have a company right now when you're still No. The reason you have the company is because you are going through this shit and you see it. And I just thought that was so fucking cool. And I was like, I'm considering different career options. I've been at my job for almost 6 years now. And, my bridge piercing came out. I'm a new me. I had tied my identity to that thing just a little bit. Yeah, that was scary. But I looked at Finley and I said, should I take it out? They said, don't do anything rash. And I said, no, fuck it, I'm taking it out. And of course, there's, huge migration scars. But I'm in I'm not going to say era. I'm in a new moment. Maybe there's new job opportunities and maybe I could do something with like sobriety and addiction. And there's so many different avenues now that are open to me because of what I've been through. And I love to help people. I fucking love it. Like my main goal in life is for people to know it's okay to be themselves, right? Like the people that I work with are my children. And I don't ever want them to leave and go, fuck, I feel awful about myself. No. I love you. Me do. And I want you to leave here feeling good about yourself because you're a fucking awesome human being and you're doing great. So like, maybe I'll go back to school. Maybe I'll do this, but there's so many opportunities right now that are crazy. And I'm sitting here like, that's kind of where I'm at right now in terms of healing, is expanding, seeing what I can do with what I've gone through and see how far we can get. I don't know. If some other like mother can hear my story and be able to look at her children and go, this is what, I see the signs of this. That's what my mom said. She said, this podcast, whoever it reaches, you could be helping people right now. Other people like you that have gone through this.
I will tell you that almost every single episode, there's one person, at least one person that will reach out and be like, hey, either I kind of want to come on and tell my story, or I know somebody who wants to tell their story. So it does. Yeah, I've had, I don't know, like 10 or 12 guests
Fuck yeah.
because of other people that have been on.
Heck yeah. Like I said earlier, like the shame of what I've been through is still there, but I have to learn to not be scared of that anymore. Yeah. Because if I can help somebody by saying what I'm saying right now, like most people like didn't even realize I was going through anything. I'd dropped all that weight. You know, I like to wear my big clothes or whatever.
Oh, sure.
And you know, I even like the other week I had like a coworker like put her hands on like my shoulders, try and give me a rub. She's like, "Yeah, Twinkie," and I was like, "Thanks. That's just yeah, okay." But it's those little things to like look out for of other people saying things to you that they don't know what you're going through, but they make little comments about things.
Yeah.
And so if someone hears this and goes, "I think I do have a problem." Like I was intaking all of those comments about things, especially even from friends that like cared about me, and I was like, "Nah, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep on this addiction path that I'm on right now." Like you, I want people to feel supported with this.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think that's everything, because isolation is to me like the number one catalyst for relapse, because people go to a bar just so that there's people around who are also consuming, so that they can then consume. Because another common thing is like people who use want whoever's with them to use, so that they can't judge them.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I would do that all the fucking time. But at any rate, is that a vacuum?
A little bit. We got a Bissell in this bitch.
Fucking blowing fat clouds, dude.
Fuck yeah, I did.
Okay. Well, Davey, fucking thank you for coming on. I would love to have you back on.
Okay,
to talk more things.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay. Well, and to the listeners, be well to yourselves.